So good afternoon. My name is Joe Mach. I'm president of Verifone North America. I'm sitting here today with Donna from McDonald's. Donna is Senior Director of Business Systems. Donna and I have known each other for probably 3 or 4 years now.
Absolutely.
But as we think about the conversation we're going to have today, Verifone's been partnered with McDonald's for probably over 15 years. And when you think about our history with McDonald's, it's really the transformation that we've gone through as an organization. You know, McDonald's was one of the first to put out cashless. We'll talk about that a little bit today. But way back then, I think there were Everest or Omnis, and it was a simple, we were giving you a piece of hardware and that's it. As you fast forward to today, you know, now we're not only a hardware provider, but we're really in the software and the solutions business. So I think today's conversation is just a great example of how we've helped McDonald's grow and how we've kind of matured our relationship together. So I got a few questions I'll ask you today.
Okay.
This is funny. So I've got a daughter that's in college, and she loves this BuzzFeed, right? There's all surveys and things you could take out there. And so we saw something on BuzzFeed titled 29 wild McDonald's menu items you can't get in the U.S. You take a look at the list: pesto pasta in Rome, bubblegum squash McFlurry in Australia. Have you ever tried that?
I have not.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to try that. What else we got here? Spaghetti and fried chicken and banana pie in the Philippines.
Oh, awesome.
It's unbelievable. But anyway, I think these things are hilarious. But what I wanted to kind of turn that into is when you take a look at North America that you're responsible for, customizing not only menu items, but the way that you serve your customers that come in has become more important as you've expanded, not just in cashless in the lane, but taking it in the drive-through, some of the things that you're doing with your mobile ordering app, some of the things you're doing with kiosks. So kind of tell me how McDonald's views technology in your store and how it's important to customize those digitally for the customers and how they like to shop.
Yeah. So these last few years have been incredibly exciting for us in the field of technology, particularly in our restaurants, because our goal is to become more relevant to our customers. And so by becoming more relevant, what we're looking to do is to understand, to listen and understand how our customers want to interact with us, want to eat their meals, whether they want to eat them in the dining room, whether they want to go to the kiosk and decide what they want versus talking to an individual, whether they want to order ahead and then just pick up their meal either at the drive-through or in the front counter. We're also moving into table service, you know, so if you'd like to even have your, order ahead and then come into the dining room and just have your meal brought out to you. So we are really trying to do a much better job connecting with our customers and letting them know that we hear them and we want to provide these conveniences to them.
And how has, so McDonald's, I think it was in 2017, you launched your mobile ordering app. Is that rolled out nationally? How has that been from I love the idea. I think you guys did a good implementation. Maybe kind of tell me, how did you guys decide how to integrate your mobile app and how to make sure that it was convenient with the way that you serve your food? Yeah.
So, okay, Joe, that was a Herculean effort. In fact, in 2017, we rolled out mobile ordering to 20,000 locations.
Jeez.
So we actually, at this point, have not even done any marketing against it. This has just been, let's get the technology platform out there, get folks used to using it. So now we're seeing about at least a transaction a day from each of the restaurants.
Okay.
In a few months, you'll start to hear more about it. So we expect that it's going to take off. But our focus in 17 really was about shoring up the platforming, making sure, because when we get out, we're probably going to have a environment that's at least top 5 in terms of the number of customers that are going to be out there. So we want to make sure that the infrastructure is stable and that the app works and stays up. So we've been really focused on that, so that in a few months you're going to start to really see this thing take off. So we're excited.
20,000 locations.
20,000 locations.
So I referenced this in my little opening dialogue, but when we first started working with McDonald's, you were the first, I believe, national chain, QSR chain, to start taking credit cards. Why did you guys make a decision to kind of jump into credit cards way back then, and how has that evolved, over the last 15 years since we did the first system?
Yeah, and Joe, I was there. I was
You
there
were
at
in
the
that
beginning.
project.
I was
That was your
on
project.
that project. I was, yeah.
What did you do wrong that
So-
you got stuck with us again this last go around?
Well, I'll tell you about that in a minute.
Yeah.
And I actually remember being at a table asking the question, do you think people will actually use their credit cards at McDonald's? And we weren't really sure at that time, but what we started to see is a little bit of movement across our owner-operators where we started to see pockets of folks starting to go into cashless payments. And we're always in a position of trying to leverage our scale for the system. And so what we thought is we could offer a more complete solution for our owner-operators to have that would provide the level of security that they need, as well as the performance that they would need in their system that you can't really get when you're doing, onesie, twosie.
Right.
And so we selected Verifone, and it was, I have to say, it was one of the tougher but more fun projects I'd ever been on in my life. And in fact, we joke about it a lot around the office now for those of us who were around there. But what we didn't realize is how profoundly it was going to change our business.
Yeah.
And I say that because we started to see average checks tick up, and which became very intriguing to
So one of the primary drivers
that
get
really
that spend up per ticket.
Yeah, and then we started getting owner-operators that were so excited about it that they didn't want to open new restaurants without it. Right. So, we have been able to increase the cashless penetration very significantly, somewhere in, for some restaurants up to 40% of their transactions are actually cashless. And we are now at a point where we don't open restaurants unless we have the infrastructure prepared to, take cashless.
Yeah.
So it has really changed how we do business. Yeah.
So along with that, contactless, once again, a leader in that space, not only a leader, I would say, in the QSR space, but in the retail space in general.
Yeah.
Once again, an example of how you want to let your customers interact and pay with you however they prefer, whether it's through a phone or a chip card, swipe card. One of the really interesting trends that I love what I'm seeing is around kiosks, right? So for years we've been playing around with kiosks inside of retail environments. Certainly at the airport, kiosk may be one of the best success stories, kiosks being used in airports for check-in and baggage fees. But you look at kiosks inside of the QSR business, and I think it makes so much sense. I know McDonald's dove into this probably 3 years ago. Maybe you had previous generations.
We did.
And that was for a specific campaign that you had at the time that you don't anymore. But as I understand it, you're looking to expand kiosks even more than the locations that you're in today. So tell me a little bit about why kiosks, what that does for your business, what the feedback is from your customers.
So last year we did about 2,000 kiosks in our restaurants, and it's interesting because when we look at other markets, we see kiosks like France and other places in Europe where it's really popular, and kiosk has been really strong. And when I say that, meaning that customers just gravitate to them in other markets. We haven't seen that gravitation, but what we know is if there's a population of people, they're likely younger than you and I, that
I resemble that comment.
that tend to gravitate to technology and get very excited when they see it. I was in Canada and I saw it. I saw, we have a restaurant that's near a college, and you should see the folks huddled around the kiosk. So what we're really trying to do is to make sure we're relevant to all demographics, right? So that's a way for some of the millennials to engage with us and to feel that relevancy that we're trying to keep so much. But then it gives us the opportunity, again, like I said, to go into like table service, right? So you order the way you want, you eat the way you want. You can now come in and just take one of the little table buzzers, go sit down and have your meal brought to you. But a 60-year-old brand, always has to, or brands have to always think about, how do I keep myself fresh and new?
Absolutely.
And Kiosk is helping us do that. So in 18, you're going to see us put in about 3,800 or so, about almost 4,000 more kiosks.
Wow.
So it's going to become where we are just technologically relevant, wherever, and you'll see our dining rooms really start to spruce up so that they're more inviting for folks. Because we don't want, about 65 to 70% of our business comes through our drive-through,
Yep.
but we don't want folks to feel like they can't come in and really be served. So we're starting to really put a push around that as well.
Do you see kiosks ever going everywhere within your restaurants across the chain, or is it really demographically driven, where maybe in the more urban areas with the population and the demographics you have, it makes more sense, or do you see it potentially going across your entire chain?
So we're trying to figure that out. Right now, we have a focus on really trying to hit the demographics where it's really going to benefit. I think it's something we'd like to see everywhere. But we'll have to take a read. Like I said, we're doing about 4,000 this year, and we'll see where that takes us. But I will tell you that the modernization that we're doing with our restaurants is going to take place everywhere.
Everywhere, it's got to.
Everywhere, whether it's with kiosk or other things. We're really trying to keep modern.
So 2 more questions on kiosks, and we'll go to the next subject. But I think this is so interesting, as just merchants in general need to learn about kiosks and how you use them. Have you seen with kiosks where, and I'm just thinking it's a little bit more intuitive when you're ordering, right? So if I go up there, I'll probably explore your menu more when I'm not talking to somebody, where I'll just go, hey, I'll take a number 2 with the Diet Coke or whatever the case is. I'll look at the menu, I've never tried this chicken sandwich with sriracha or whatever you happen to have. Do you see people exploring more menu items because of the interaction with it or not?
So, funny story. We were trying a burger. It's called Build Your Own Burger in the Chicago area.
Yeah.
And you could literally, add all these different products.
Right.
There was actually a guy who built a burger that had 23 patties.
You had to get like a garbage size thing to fit that thing in.
He took a picture of it and put it on the internet.
Yeah.
So we do
I'm gonna
see
have to
folks
find that's even better than the BuzzFeed.
getting creative with what they can do at the kiosk.
Yeah.
And my younger daughter always says she has ordering anxiety because when she goes up and they ask her if she wants some, she's like, yes. And, it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
So for folks like her, I think it provides just that opportunity to, breathe a little bit, take your order, and actually get what you want.
Right. 23 patties.
23 patties,
I'll try
right?
That sometime.
There you go.
I'll try that sometime. All right, so we'll change gears now. So how has Verifone helped McDonald's grow over the years?
Well, with being a company of McDonald's size, one of our challenges is always scalability. Scalability and being in a position to lead. Yep. Because many times when we go to our vendors, what we're looking for hasn't yet been built.
Right.
And in that vein, it's important to have partners that are willing to work through that with you. When we started down the journey of EMV, everybody's got to go EMV, but nobody knows how. Right?
Yeah.
We haven't quite figured that out.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So you've got to forge strong relationships with your partners to be able to go on that journey and be able to trust that you're going to wind up at a finish line. Yeah. And Verifone's been that for us. So we have, since the early 2000s, been working through this. And I had promised I was never going to do this again, but this time was my 3rd time building cashless at McDonald's.
Yeah,
right?
But this was called Cashless 2.0.
No,
this is 3.0.
This is 3.0. So I built it 3 times.
Yeah.
Each time with Verifone.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate that.
But you guys just have proven over the years to be solid partners for us, and we've been able to work through some big hurdles. We don't worry about whether we can actually scale with these, because we know that we're going to be able to work through with you guys how we can do that. And in fact, this last cashless version, we went from EMV in 400 restaurants at the end of 2016 to having 14,000 installed in 6 months. Yeah. And you can only do that if you've got strong systems and processes with your partners.
That's great.
So
that's great. So cashless 1.0,
2.0 and 3.0.
So we're going to put on our Nostradamus hat and try to predict the future. Not that you're going to do a cashless 4.0. Somebody else is going to have to do it. But so let's say cashless 4.0 happens, 5 to 7 years down the road.
Thanks for giving me some time.
Yes. Oh, you plenty of time. If you want to do it quicker, let us know. We're all in. Okay. But when you think fast forward, and this could be either around your food items or around technology, but what do you think the McDonald's experience is going to be in 5 to 10 years? You think it's going to be primarily, you think the direction you're on right now, which is an aggressive one.
Yeah.
But what do you think it looks like in 5 to 10 years?
Well, I don't remember if I mentioned this already. So, Joe, we're doing delivery now.
Yep.
I would imagine that, there's more delivery. I would see kiosks and that type. I don't know how they'll evolve, but I see more of that taking off. And there's probably going to be, the wallets probably are going to take off a bit more than they have already. I foresee that as well. So I think we're going to keep our eyes on this stuff, and we'll be talking to you. Yeah.
So actually, this is an interesting
going.
Conversation. You mentioned wallets, right? And so you see, and I don't know if you have an opinion on this or a perspective, but you've got two different approaches, right? Where you've got Apple out there with Apple Pay, which you already take today, but then they've got their VAS functionality where it's couponing and loyalty. Google has that. You also see huge organizations like yourself, like at Walmart, where they've created their own wallet. I mean, does McDonald's have any, do you see at some point you building your own wallet? Do you see leveraging technology from other innovators in the space, or any perspective on that?
Yeah, we don't want to be in the software development business. That's not our specialty. We're likely going to use partners to help us do that and try to leverage what's already out there if we can. Yeah. But again, a lot of times we don't. A lot of what we're trying to do when we work with partners is to provide our customers with an experience.
Right.
As an example, when we did cashless 2, one of my biggest concerns were, are we going to really slow things down for our customers? Right. And in fact, we made it faster, right? It was like folks didn't even believe it was going out to be approved. So our goal is really to try to make sure the customer has a couple of things. They can feel secure that their information is going to be protected when it goes through our system, and they're going to not be slowed down by what we've put in place, and it's going to be the same experience across our system. So, those are the things that we focus on. So whether it's wallets, we want it to be seamless, remove all the friction from their interaction with that, because we don't want them to worry about technology and security, right? We want you to go get the food the way you want it, and to be
It is funny you mentioned the speed. I can't tell you, when you guys did cashless 2.0, how many merchants I met with. They're like, how does McDonald's get it so fast, right? I mean, you had them mounted just perfect. You swipe the card, you're done. Receipts there, right? I mean, you truly did set the bar there. You're going to continue to be an innovative leader. I love the stuff you're doing with kiosks, the mobile applications. So we do look forward to many more years of partnership. So thank you for your time today, Donna. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you, Joe. This was fun for me.
It was great. Thanks.